Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over all the books on my 2025 TBR. These are either books that are on my physical TBR or upcoming releases that I'm looking forward to, or just some other books that are already out that I'm kind of wanting to get to sometime this year. I'm gonna start with my physical TBR and go over all the books I have on there. And I thankfully have read some of them already. We're like halfway through January at this point, so I'm making pretty good progress. I'm really trying to focus on these, and I'm very happy with my progress so far. The first book on my physical TBR is The Wedding People by Alison Espach, and I'm currently reading this book with my mom. We are almost 300 pages into it. This book follows Phoebe as she goes to a hotel in Connecticut, and she quickly realizes that when she gets there, she is not supposed to be there. This hotel has been reserved for the week for a wedding, and she knows nobody there. You're really not supposed to be there if you're not a part of the wedding, and it basically just follows Phoebe meeting everybody and kind of realizing that she is here, and she kind of joins the wedding party. I'm not going to say too much about this. I do know most of what happens just because I am currently almost done with it, but I'm not going to say too much. That's all I'm going to say. Just know that there is a topic in this book that follows, in the beginning of this book, that heavily follows suicide and self-harm. And if you wouldn't really guess that off the cover, it doesn't say that anywhere on the book. But just know going into it, if you do not want to read about that, maybe don't read this. That's all I have to say. Next book on my physical TBR is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've read a few of her books now, and I just am so enthralled by everything that she writes and the way she writes and the way she tells a story. This book follows four siblings who are the children of a famous singer, and it follows them on one night as they throw their end of the summer party, and by the morning the party is up in flames. I just love this kind of, not, I mean, they are pretty interconnected series that Taylor Jenkins Reid has written basically between like the 60s and the 80s. It's Daisy Jones and the Six, Malibu Rising, Carrie Soto is Back, and Evelyn Hugo. And I just think that they are so interesting. I have not read the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. However, maybe this year I will read that. Maybe that will be on my 2025 TBR. Next up is Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. I read Beartown by Fredrik Backman, and I wasn't really sure how I felt about it. I know that so many people love that book, but there was just something about it that just didn't really sit well with me. Going into this book, I really did not know what it was about. I did already read it, just a heads up. But I just knew that it basically kind of just followed a bank robber and kind of the hostages that get taken along the way. And that's all I knew going into it. I've seen a lot of people enjoy this. I was very intrigued as to if I would like it as well, and kind of give Fredrik Backman another try since I wasn't sure how I felt about Beartown. I'm not going to say how I felt about it. I will keep that for my January wrap up, but that was Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. Next up is one that I actually have not read, and that is Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. Honestly, again, I know very little about this book. I believe it follows two brothers, and I think one of them is a lawyer. I'm not sure if their dad has died recently. I'm not sure. I have only read Normal People by Sally Rooney, and I read that so long ago. I think I read that in May of 2022, which is going on 3 years ago. And I think I enjoyed it. I remember it just being kind of very mundane. There's no quotation marks in her books, so it's just straight dialogue with no quotation marks around it. Very interesting, very unique. I'm really interested in if I will like this. Next up are two books, and that is One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. I got both of these books for Christmas, and I actually did. I got maybe not even a chapter into the first one on my Kindle. They are on Kindle Unlimited, but I really just wasn't in the mood for fantasy at the time, so I did put it down. I'm hoping to pick back up the first one again sometime soon, and I really hope I do enjoy it. I have seen some other people that I follow on Bookstagram read it, so I'm really interested to see if I will like it. The beginning so far, the vibe that I got was just kind of confusing a little bit. It really was just, I was reading and I had no idea what was going on. But I'm hoping to get to both of these sometime this year. definitely this year, but sometime maybe within the next 2 months, both of these. Next up is Hopeless by Elsie Silver. This is the final book in the Chestnut Spring series, and this is the last one that I have left to read. This book follows Bo, who is a military hero of Chestnut Springs, and a girl named Bailey, and she is kind of from like the wrong side, or kind of from like a shady family, I guess. And I believe it is a fake marriage trope. Also, there is an age gap, but fake fiance, not fake marriage, but fake fiance. And I really enjoyed the last three, well, I enjoyed the middle three books of the Chestnut Spring series, so I'm really hoping to enjoy this one as well. I feel like I'll probably read this in February when I'm wanting a little bit more of like a romancy type book. Next up are the last two and then the novella of the Caraval trilogy. So this is Legendary, Finale, and then Spectacular. I read Caraval for the first time in 2019, and when I read it, I absolutely hated it. The rest of the books weren't out yet, and so I read the first book and was just like, nope, not for me. I have a whole rant review of it in my Google Notes or my Google Docs, and I decided to give it another try, I think last year or the year before. I listened to the audiobook of it. Was still on the fence about it, but I decided to ask for the box set for Christmas this year. And so I actually just finished reading Legendary. I'm not going to say anything about it, but it basically follows a similar thing of Caraval. Caraval is basically a game. Nothing is real. And it follows two sisters, but mostly in the first book it follows Scarlet, who is the older sister, and in this book it follows the younger sister Tella. The first book is the sisters getting introduced to Caraval, and I believe Scarlet is trying to find Tella, and in this book it follows Tella's point of view from a different Caraval, and I honestly have no idea what to expect in this last book. I still have not read it. I have the audiobook on hold from the library, so I'm hoping to get to it sometime soon, and then when I finish Finale, I will start Spectacular, which is just a really short little novella. There's some like illustrations in it, so I thought this was really cool. It's like a holiday edition too. Those were all the books on my physical TBR. I actually have read quite a few of them as well, so I'm very happy to not have that many. I really try to limit the amount of books I have that I own and haven't read. It stresses me out a little bit. So I'm going to quickly talk about some upcoming releases that I am super excited about and definitely want to get to sometime this year. I'll probably get them. Most of these I probably will buy as soon as they come out, just because I am so excited for them. The first book is actually one that is already out. It came out on January 7th, and that was Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. This is a part of her When in Rome series, which also includes When in Rome and Practice Makes Perfect. It follows Emily and Jack, and they are two elementary school teachers, and they are basically in this whole feud. They've always been kind of back and forth and trying to be better than the other. I've already read this. I listened to the audio of it, but that's all I'm going to say. If you want to hear my thoughts, definitely watch my January wrap up. Next up is a book that is also already out. I want to read this so badly. I've seen so many people talk about it, and that is The Favorites by Lane Fargo. And all I know is that this is about two figure skaters, and all I know, I think it's toxic and dramatic, and I am so interested. I feel like this is very up my alley. I just love reading about drama, so I'm definitely going to get this at Barnes & Noble when I go next weekend. I'm so excited to read this. Next up is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This is the third book in the Empyrean series, or Fourth Wing. I am so excited for this. It comes out on Tuesday. It's currently Friday. I can't really say what this book is about if you haven't read Fourth Wing, especially because it's the third book, but it involves dragon, it involves very high stakes. I feel like everybody at this point has read Fourth Wing, so I can't say much about it. And the next one coming out on February 18th is Rebel Witch by Kirsten Ciccarelli, and this is the second book in the Crimson Moth duology, but I am so excited for this to come out. I absolutely loved The Heartless Hunter. It basically is about a little cat and mouse of a witch and a witch hunter, and it was so good to me. I loved it. I'm so excited for this next one. I'm actually going to a book signing for this, and I'm so excited. Me and my best friend are going, and I can't wait. And then also coming out in February, which I'm so excited for this, is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I love Ali Hazelwood, and I will just devour it. I've heard so many good things about this book from people that have already read it. I just can't wait. I can't wait. In my head, I always refer to this book as Wet because that's what it was originally supposed to be called, but it's now called Deep End, and I am so excited for this to come out. I cannot wait to read it. In March, the next Hunger Games book is coming out and it's Sunrise on the Reaping. I am so excited for this. It follows Haymitch's story and I am so excited. I can't wait. And then in April, Miss Abby Jimenez has Say You'll Remember Me coming out. I honestly have no idea what this is about, but I don't have to because I just know I'm going to love it. I feel like this will definitely be very lighthearted, but there is definitely going to be a very emotional undertone that is just going to rip your heart out, just like all her other books. On April 22nd, Emily Henry is coming out with Great Big Beautiful Life. I am so excited for this. I really hope I like it. I feel like this one will be a little bit different, so I'm really hoping to still enjoy it. I believe it's about two writers that are both selected to go to this island, I think, and try to compete to write a memoir or like a biography or a story about this socialite, I believe. I'm not sure, but I'm so excited for this to come out. I cannot wait. I'm definitely going to get the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I think that cover looks absolutely gorgeous. Just the colors, it looks so good. In May, Annabelle Monaghan is coming out with It's a Love Story, which I'm very excited for this. I really enjoyed her summer romance and Nora Goes Off Script, so I'm really hoping to enjoy this one as well. I don't know much about what this is about. I do know it takes place on Long Island, so I feel like it's gonna really serve East Coast summer, which I love. They're perfect. East Coast summer is the best summer. On June 3rd, Taylor Jenkins Reid is coming out with Atmosphere, which follows a young woman trying to enter the NASA space shuttle program, I believe. It takes place in the 1980s, so probably goes along with the vibe of Malibu Rising and all her other books that take place in the 1900s. I can't say 1900s, but takes place in the 1960s to 1980s, that overall kind of vibe. I just am so excited. I hope I love it. Honestly, I don't even really have to understand what she is writing about. Like Carrie Soda's Beck, I have no idea about anything about tennis related, but did I still love it? Yes. So this, I really don't have to understand anything either, I'm sure. And I'll still love it. Some other books that are on my radar are P.S. I Hate You by Lauren Connolly. And I also want to read the next book after Red Queen, which is, I believe, War Storm. I did start it through the library, but I have kind of just been reading it before I go to bed, and I'm not very far. I think I'm like 40 pages in, but it seems good so far. But I'm just not in the mood to read on my phone or read on my Kindle. I really just want to read like a physical copy of a book. So I think I'm just going to have to wait to get it physically. But those are all the books that are on my 2025 TBR, both physically, anticipated releases. I do have some other books that I want to read that I'm sure I'm just forgetting about, but those are the ones that immediately come to mind, so I feel like they're probably the more important ones. I'm so excited for all the reading that is going to occur this year. I'm so excited and I look forward to reading and finding so many new favorites. Let me know what is on your guys' 2025 TBR, and I'll see you guys in next week's video. Bye!